All right, guys. So apparently, around 17 years ago, the 2004 tsunami, which was actually from the Indian Ocean, has devastated many, many lives. Eventually, to remember this, many people who were actually tourists or those people who were from Thailand or Indonesia had been swept by the tsunami. It was a really, really sad experience, especially for people who have been to an Asian country didn't notice about the tsunami. Well, I'm gonna tell you why because back in 2000s, since the Apple phone wasn't released by then, there were a lot of things which are devastating, especially for natural disasters. And apparently, the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami affected some countries such as India, Indonesia, Malaysia, Maldives, Myanmar, Somalia, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. So the indirect one was actually Finland and Norway. So for United Nations, please help the people in need, especially with all these tsunamis and, and natural disasters to keep ourselves safe. I was only 1 years old when the time like that happened. And my friend was 3 months when it did happen. So for my other friends, they were like 1 or 2 years old, but some of them were older. I have noticed a lot of people dying, and I've heard about this tsunami before. And if you guys have watched this movie, The Impossible, this tells you based on a true story. It was about a Spanish family who were caught in the tsunami, and apparently it was one of the worst disasters ever. Unfortunately, the family didn't die, and I've noticed that Tom Holland was actually playing and voicing Lucas. So this is a true story about Maria and a family going to Thailand for their Christmas vacation. So apparently Maria got severely injured, but she didn't die. So apparently it was really, really sad for a lot of people, especially for kids who were tourists. It was sad. Local kids, it can really happen a lot. So eventually, during this year, to avoid a tsunami, think, run, go fast, and hide in shelter. Don't ever stand in the water too long. It could be very dangerous, especially for some countries which experience tsunamis or earthquakes. We want everyone to be safe. So, number one, use a hard object to cover your head to prevent any injuries. Bring some snacks or a light to keep you safe. And never use the escalator or an elevator. An escalator and an elevator are not safe to use because you can end up severely trapped or you can end up killed by a tsunami. And for 17 years ago, since the Indian Ocean tsunami has affected, many people died, especially actors and actresses, and there were kids who are under the age of 18. Some of them who are under the age of 18 might have died or might have survived, but it's currently unknown that because I was only 1 years old. 1 year old. I was a 1 year old, and I was actually in Selangor, right here. So it actually occurred in Malaysia, but this one only occurred in Penang. So eventually, for this one, the warning signs, if you see a tsunami or if you see an earthquake, don't panic. Leave your things. Do not attempt to retrieve them. If you attempt to retrieve your things like that, you can get severely hurt or killed by tsunami. There were many, many tsunamis that happened by that time. And by that time the tsunami did, it killed a lot of people. It was really devastating. It was so sad for other people to experience like this. But for United Nations like that, we support people who are hurt or injured, especially with this kind of situation. So guys, in order to be safe, I want you guys to listen to this direction. What to do during a tsunami and how can you stop it? Because in 2004, there were no phones, there were just cellular phones. Like I would just say they were like not so electronic phones, but unfortunately for that, now there's electronic folks. So eventually, I'm just gonna say this. So apparently, it's like terrible. It's a terrible experience. Ever since 17 years ago, the Indian Ocean tsunami apparently did hurt this family uh with Maria and her kids. So actually, The Impossible is a true based on a true story about Maria Belen, who survives the 2004 tsunami. It wasn't an earthquake, sorry. Earthquake and tsunami, I mean. So unfortunately, guys, I'm going to show you the rules and regulation on what you can do during a tsunami or an earthquake. So first, you need to protect yourself from an earthquake. Go down as far as possible. Be alert. When you see the tsunami signal on your phone, it means a tsunami or an earthquake is coming. So this actually did happen in the Philippines 1 year ago. There was apparently a hurricane or a tsunami in the Philippines. So basically in the Philippines there were lots and lots of tsunamis, and apparently during the season right here, since it's already December, there are still some earthquakes and still some tsunamis, but I suggest you guys don't go to the Philippines yet. It is not safe, and I'm afraid that many of my friends will get killed by that. So apparently, if you're on a boat, go out to sea. Just evacuate. Don't wait. Don't collect your items. Like I was saying before, in a shooting spree, go now and don't leave. So apparently, go to the high ground and hold on there. So apparently, if you see some glass right here in a tsunami, always wear protective gloves. Protective gloves will help you not sustain any injury to yourself. So apparently, before I sign off and before I actually say something, I just wanted to say this one really quick. So eventually, there were lots of earthquakes right here, but I suggest people who are actually in this tragedy, especially for the Philippines as well, because they experienced like many earthquakes and many tsunamis. A lot of people were killed in the Philippines, and many people lost their homes, resulting in poverty. So to support this poverty, be strong, be brave, be ready to take these precautions whenever you're going to a country. But this can actually happen all around the world, especially in the Philippines or Indonesia. So eventually, guys, this is just a reminder and a warning to you guys. If you're visiting a country that has earthquakes, please make sure to read the signs carefully. And be careful on monsoons as well, because monsoons will actually occur in any season. So I suggest you guys don't go there and don't go to the Philippines when there's a tsunami season. I do not want anyone to get killed by that. But anyways, guys, this is Wheeling the Tomboy Gamer signing off. And as well as this, I wanted to say this. Rest in peace to all the people who are actually the victims of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami. Ever since the past decade, we've lost a lot of tourists from Europe. So it's really, really sad. So I just wanted to say this. Rest in peace to the people who are in this country or who are a tourist.